Good evening and welcome to the Monday podcast from allthingsgerman.net and pensionssprachschule.de.
Good evening.
We're sitting in the U-Bahn.
Again,
at Hallmark and waiting for it to go to Frankfurt because we're going to an OpenBC meeting. OpenBC is now called Xing, X-I-N-G. I'll put a link on the Monday podcast site to that. And the group from Frankfurt meets once a month on the first Thursday in every month to basically get together and exchange ideas. We sit together, we talk, we talk about our business, we talk about our lives, and that's about it basically. And sometimes you meet someone that's interesting and sometimes you don't. So this is your first time to this meeting?
Right, I just joined Xing about a month ago, and I know you're an old-timer, right?
I've been going for about a year.
Okay.
Just over a year. We're moving.
Oh. Yeah, because you do refer to them as BC Open, so when was the name?
OpenBC.
OpenBC, I'm sorry.
Name changed, I think it was December.
Just this past December.
Okay. So a lot of people... A lot of people will still refer to it as OpenBC.
Yeah.
The Xing name has come because they want to be more international. They needed a name which, as far as I remember, was copyrightable.
Okay.
And that's why they came up this Xing for crossing. And that's abbreviated to Xing. But like I say, most people this evening will probably know it as OpenBC. And it happens, like I say, once a month, various places in Frankfurt, this meeting, and the one we're going to this evening is called the Neue Volkswirt, and in my personal opinion that's the best location. I think that's the one where I've had the best conversations.
And do the other groups have meetings like that too? Because I've joined 5 groups so far.
I've heard of one. I've joined one this week called Xing Bad Homburg.
Oh, there is one. Okay.
There's one in Bad Homburg now, and I've heard about them talking about it. I've heard of the English lounge which I'm in, talking about meeting as well, which is a lot more difficult because they're spread on various continents. So this is the one that I know that has just get-togethers. There's one other that I've been a member of, which I'm not now in, I don't think, which had more formal occasions with entrance fee, buffet, lectures and things like that. And I didn't go to any of those. So what are you expecting this evening?
Well, I hope to expect to meet some new people because, being in Oberhausen, I always see the same faces, and I like to meet some other freelancers and see what they do, and I don't know, I'm just curious. I guess when you go there for the first time, you do have some expectations, but I'm also open to suggestions. Okay,
so we'll just see who we meet.
Right.
We'll talk to them. Maybe they'll talk to us.
And maybe we come home with some new ideas.
We'll come home with some new ideas for the podcast even.
Yeah,
or for the businesses.
I've made some pretty good contacts already.
In OpenBC, in Xing.
In Xing, yeah. Yeah, here we go. And so it seems to be a very good and interesting thing.
Okay. We'll talk more later.
Okay.
Nächste Station, Kupferhammer, Ausstieg links.
Okay, so we're back in the train on our way home. We've been to the OpenBC meeting, or the Xing meeting. How did you find it?
Well, it was so pleasant. I almost found it a bit overwhelming because everybody was so nice and it was so congenial, and I don't know, everybody just greeted each other very casually, and we made some nice contacts, and of course I had some good beer, being down in Frankfurt, even though it was a wine bar. But they serve you anything as long as you pay for it. So the contacts I've made were very, very nice. More than I could have expected. Definitely.
Yeah, it was a nice evening, and I hope something will become of the contacts that we made.
Yeah, of course, we have dished out some business cards, and
A lot of business cards for us and a lot of business cards for the podcast.
yeah, that too, yeah.
We hope to have some interviews with people as well.
Yeah, but I mean, as you noticed, I mean, people still do ask what a podcast is. I mean, that's another thing, you know.
So we've got to spend more time explaining what a podcast is on the homepage.
It will take a bit of time. I mean, I think, and not just for women. I mean, it was mostly women that asked us what a podcast was, but then again, we talk to mostly women. Is it because you're a man?
No, I think it was because the mix at the table, or certainly at the table when we were sitting down, was 2 to 4.
Right.
And at the table where we were standing, it was about half-half.
Right. So, but I think the media podcasting still takes some explanation.
Yeah, it's not so well known in Germany.
No, not yet. Not yet.
In other countries.
Yeah, but as far as meeting people down there, that was great. I really want to go back there again, definitely.
How many people do you think were there?
Well, they said about 70 people were
70.
expected, but so I would think about 45 or 50 were there.
50 is probably about right.
Yeah. Okay.
We know they had about 30 seats.
Yeah.
So it's possible there were 50, maybe even 60 with the people standing.
That's possible, yeah. I mean, we were so busy talking to people that, I didn't really pay attention, but it was rather crowded when we left at 10 o'clock, so, it's a good number.
It was certainly more crowded. At one point, I noticed there was a lot of people standing around the tables, so even though we were sitting, it was getting quite full,
right?
And at some point, almost before the lights actually went on to be a surprise.
There was a surprise.
When they suddenly put all the lights on, I think it thinned out a bit. I think there was a certain number that went maybe about 9:30ish.
That's possible.
Maybe they went and sat outside in their
true,
groups. Maybe they didn't want to stand anymore.
Yeah.
But, I think it thinned out at that point.
Yeah. But nevertheless, it was a very, very pleasant evening out. I have to say that everybody was so just open-minded, and they came up and shook your hand, and and it was just, like I haven't been to anything like that in a long time.
Okay.
I have to say that.
So that's the next one as well.
I want to. So please tell me.
You get the invitations.
By now I'm a member of that forum anyway, but nevertheless, remind me that we take Uber together if we go down there.
Okay, if you're wondering what we're talking about all this time, Xing is a platform for networking, it's called. And so I shall put a link on the mondaypodcast.com. For anyone who wants to join Xing, especially if you're in the Frankfurt area and you want to go to this meeting once a month, then that's a good idea.
Yeah.
We can meet you there. What else did we learn this evening? What else did we learn this evening? We learned about people. We learned about people and what they do.
We learned, for example, that the last woman I talked to, she was an underwriter.
Okay.
I had read that word before, but I never really thought about what it meant. So I had her explain to me what her job entails, and even though she explained it to me, I'm still not quite sure what it really means, because all I could ask her was, like, did you study law to do that?
Okay.
She said yes. So I have a pretty good idea, but yet what does an underwriter really do? There are so many jobs out there, and even when people ask me what I would do, I kind of was a bit like, what do I really do? How can I put it in a few words? There is no title for that, because nowadays we have so many different jobs, and So I learned that there are a lot of people out there who are looking for connections with kind of, let's say, odd jobs, in a way, and or modern jobs, or based on the internet jobs, and it's not the traditional way. They're not traditional people, because traditional people go about the traditional way of finding jobs.
Okay.
So we are, like, with the new breed.
Okay. And it was definitely a Japanese evening today because you were talking about Japan.
Yeah.
There were other people at our table talking about Japan. There were other people at other tables who then we discovered were talking about Japan. So there's an awful... I don't know, a lot of people talking about Japan, basically.
Yeah, but well, I can't really say whether they brought it up or I brought it up because, I used to live in Japan, so I love to talk about it, of course. And there's lots to say. And this one guy that I talked to, he said, he'd spent 2 weeks in Japan and he would never go back. And, and I told him I had spent the best 3 years of my life in Japan. So, I mean...
I forgot about that one, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, opinions are different, and but it's just, it was a very good place to be tonight.
Okay.
And actually, the way I feel right now, of course, after a couple of beers, or a few beers, I would say, let's do that every week. But don't tell them, Mensch. No, I mentioned you. But I would even say, oh gosh, we could do that every week,
Yeah.
It was so interesting, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Umsteigen zur S-Bahn. Zu den Omnibussen des Stadtverkehrs Oberursel, zu den Zügen und Omnibussen des Regionalverkehrs.
Okay, so if you want the transcript from this evening's podcast, it should be online by the end of the week. Hope you've had a good Easter, and we'll be back in a week's time with the Monday podcast.
Yep, have a good one.
Bye.
And happy Easter.
Happy Easter.